everybody! It is so good to be here with all of you today. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to talk about how I published a book with Draft2Digital and what I learned about it. For those of you who don't know me, I am an Amazon best-selling fantasy author, and I write a lot of books, but this is my first time ever going through Draft2Digital for a book publication. And I've heard a lot of things about it, so I thought might as well drop on and share my experience with you. I will say that this is not a sponsored video in any way. I have not received anything in exchange for doing this review and have not talked to Draft2Digital. All of the opinions in this review are solely my own, based on one book experience in July of 2022. So take anything that I know with a grain of salt. If you're a Draft2Digital pro and there's things that I could have done differently or better, please drop it in the comments. And if you do want to learn more about Draft2Digital or consider using them for your own book, and it seems like a good fit for you, you can click the link in my description box for more information on that. So with that, let's hop right in. What Draft2Digital is a self-publishing with support platform. That's word for word in the quotes from Draft2Digital's website. And if you're on and you're live, I'm doing this live so I can answer your questions about it. Drop those in the chats as we go through. What I used Draft2Digital for is exclusively their ebook publishing across multiple platforms in one place. So they're using Draft2Digital to publish The Godmother, which is coming up on August 22nd for everything but Amazon. It put it up on over 6 different retailers, international retailers, some that I have never used or heard of before I signed up for Draft2Digital. And so if you've ever published a book before, you know that every platform has its own cover templates, its own design, its own interior template. And with The Vow That Twisted Fate, which is wide, one of the biggest issues I came across was every version of the cover cost money. Every version of the interior. Everything had to be changed. It was all almost a pain to publish wide. And Draft2Digital promises this one place where you upload one cover, one interior, done, and it uploads it everywhere you want. With a couple caveats that I'll get to in a minute. So they have other options, like they can take your Microsoft Word document and format it. They can set up your interior contents to be clickable and all that stuff, and I have not tried that, but I did try it for the actual publishing. So that is what we're going to talk about today. Why I tried them boils down to 3 different reasons. I've already mentioned the convenience. Saving the time, saving the money to not go to Barnes & Noble, to not go to Amazon, to not go to Google Play and Apple Books and all these little retailers or publishers really, and put it out there, distributors. That was very tempting. I mean, I'm not kidding. It takes hours to set them all up and put all the different templates in the way it needs to be. The second reason is royalties. So some of these platforms give you the opportunity to make more royalties on Draft2Digital than I could have made for the same price book on my own. Now there's a couple that Draft2Digital puts a little disclaimer next to, like Amazon, that if you drop your book below a certain price, you're only going to get 30% or 35%. But for the most part, Draft2Digital gives you 70% of your royalties, and of that 70%, which comes from the distributor, right? They don't keep 30%. They say, here, let's list this on Barnes & Noble for $2. Well, 70% of that $2 is going to come back to Draft2Digital. The other 30% Barnes & Noble is going to keep. And Draft2Digital, while it is free to use, it is free to set up, they do take 15% of your royalties. So where they say you're going to make 70, you're really going to make 55, which is still higher than the 30 and 35% I'm making on some other platforms right now for books priced in the same range as The Godmother. So I felt like the jump from 30% to 55% was a pro, and that's why I decided to give them a try for The Godmother. The third one is the connections. There are some outlets that are very difficult to be accepted into, and Draft2Digital has relationships with these distributors, which can make it easier to get it in. That doesn't mean it's impossible to do it on your own. Every single platform that I saw listed on Draft2Digital has an option for the author to go to them and set up their own account, in many cases for free. A couple not for free, but in many cases for free, like Indigo, Kobo. You can go on there and create your own books. But again, it's the trade-off of the convenience as well for me. The key notes that I made while using this platform primarily are about uploads and royalties and pre-orders. So I've already shared about royalties with you guys, that basically the royalties, you're going to be bringing back 55% of whatever you list it for, with the exception of a couple platforms like Amazon that you're going to make a little less. When it comes to uploading, it was so easy that I almost cried. I think I spent close to a month and a half uploading The Vow That Twisted Fate to Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and Amazon, and just to have it done in literally one evening with one cover and one interior was mind-blowing. So to that, they more than made up for their promise. They said you could upload it, and as long as you follow their, one little template, you're done. They were right. My book was not declined from any of the retailers. And with Barnes & Noble Press, I had to go back several times with The Vow That Twisted Fate, so that was something by itself. They've also put it on library distribution retailing sites like Hoopla, and I feel like I just went blank here for a minute. But so libraries can order your ebooks through those sites as well. And it was literally one file. It took me about an hour from the time I uploaded the files and typed in the description, did my keyword entry, my category entry, and let it go. But after that, it was easy, and changes were easy. So if I found a typo or I wanted to update an interior file, I was able to go into details, click upload, and you upload and you're done. You want to change a price, and it lets you change the price on all the platforms except for one of the library ones that doesn't allow price changes right now. So uploading was the easiest I have ever experienced as an author. Pre-order notes. This is important. This is big. If you're an author who does pre-orders, Draft2Digital requires your finished files, can be changed after this point, 10 days before the book is set to come out. And that is 10 days from the company's time zone, not from your time zone. So it's not like Amazon where it reorganizes to work around your time zone. No, it's going to be on their time. So I actually found myself in a bit of a panic with the Godmother because I did Amazon separate, which is another note I'll make in just a second. And on Amazon, I have 4 days before to upload. So I basically lost 6 days, which is the equivalent of a whole worked week, by going through Draft2Digital. I understand why they do this. This is in case something goes wrong and they get pushed back and they have to ask you for a new file or something like that. I get that. However, that is something you need to factor into your time, especially if you're a last-minute procrastinator like I am, and you're like, I'm just going to knock this out and stick it out there, and boom, done. You really don't want to do that. And so, the other side to that is the pre-order note is Amazon doesn't work for advanced pre-orders with Draft2Digital unless you have the completed file. If you go with KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing or Amazon directly, you can upload your file anytime between when you create your pre-order and when it's that 4 days before your book's supposed to come out. So I could go in a year in advance and say, I have a book coming out in July of next year. I'm going to upload the cover design, and then you check a little box that says, I don't have the file, but I'll upload it on time. And they make your pre-order go live. Now, Amazon has some red tape. If you miss that deadline, then you don't get to make another pre-order for a whole year at all. So there's it's really important that you meet your deadlines there. But with Draft2Digital, you can't do that. It can't go up on Amazon through them until you have the actual file. So make sure that if you're going to do Draft2Digital for everything and you don't have a separate KDP and you don't want a separate KDP, that you do your file first and then your pre-order, and know that that means if you want a year pre-order period that you might have to have the book done way earlier than you would have if you had gone the other route. So when I first created my pre-order, I created it for Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, and a few other places that would let me do it in advance. There's a couple others that require the file first. And then after that, I went onto Google Play and Amazon and created my own pre-orders directly through them. And then, of course, we've already talked about the royalties. The other note I had on royalties was that the reporting for royalties is not immediate. So if you're in KDP and that's what you're used to, you're going to see your book sales real time all day long. It will change as people make sales or as they read your Kindle Unlimited pages, but you're not going to get that through Draft2Digital. Draft2Digital has 3-month out reporting from what I have seen, and of course the Godmother comes out July 22nd this month, so I'll have to do a follow-up video in a few months and let you guys know what I had as far as sales through Draft2Digital, but as of right now I believe that's how that works. You can pull your book at any time. This is a self-published platform. You are not signing any contracts with them, except for giving them the time basically to process and take it down. You do need to know, and they say this very clearly, that a Kindle Unlimited book cannot be available somewhere else. So you can't put it up on Kindle Unlimited and then also put it up on all these other wide platforms. So if you're a KU author or you want to be a KU author, you need to decide whether you want to go wide or not. And you need to take it down off Draft2Digital if you're going to go put it up on KU later. In the end, it all boils down to, would I use Draft2Digital again? And on this, I'm very split. I feel like on the one hand, they made my life extremely easy for the Godmother, and they removed an entire wall and a whole load of stress. On the other hand, there are some limitations with pre-orders, as I said, especially for Amazon and documents. Then there's also the royalties. Some of these platforms, like Barnes & Noble Press, yes, it was difficult to get them to approve my files for The Vow That Twisted Fate, but I did keep 70% of all my royalties. So do I really want to give away 15% of my royalties to have the convenience of not dealing with all of that all over again? And I think to decide that, I really need to see what my results are. On Draft2Digital, you can opt out of certain distributors. You don't have to do everything through them. So I opted out of doing Amazon through them and instead went and did Amazon on my own. If I wanted to keep that 70% from Barnes & Noble, I could opt out of Barnes & Noble and just do everything else, like all the library things. The other thing I have to consider is the book going up through Ingram Spark or not? Ingram Spark is the biggest distributor, or one of them, in the US. They print and distribute books to bookstores, to libraries, to schools, as well as supplying the retailers like Amazon and Barnes & Noble online who buy your paperback books. They have a wide option for ebooks where you put in one file and you put in one interior and it uploads them wide as well. I don't think they do the library sites like Book Depository or that's a whole different video right there. I don't think they do the library sites like Draft2Digital. So I do plan to use them again, but I don't plan to use them straightforward. And I'll do an updated video after I do the next book with them, and I'll tell you how it went. My plan for the next book that I'm publishing through Draft2Digital is ultimately to publish Amazon and Barnes & Noble separately. I'll publish all the other major online retailers through Draft2Digital, and I'm going to use Ingram Sparks to manage my print copies so that those are easily accessible to brick and mortar stores with no red tape. And then I will, of course, have the books available through Draft2Digital for the libraries to purchase if they wanted to. And as with Ingram Spark and anything else like this, these companies, they give you a solution to ultimately make your book available to brick and mortar stores, to make them available to customers on those sites. But they don't market them for you. So if you're brand new, you've never published a book before, this is key. People will tell you, we'll make your book available through Ingram, and what they're saying is not that the store will buy it, they're saying it'll be available there if the store buys it. And the person who's responsible for getting the stores to know it's there, hi, it's us. So we have to go in and fill out the request forms. We have to go in and meet the stores. So don't look at this as your one-stop shop. If I'm going to throw it up there and my work is done, all the marketing is still there. Draft2Digital does not take that marketing away. You still have to contact the libraries and the bookstores and everything else. If you want advice on how to get your indie book into a bookstore, there is a video with Patricia Meredith and Andrew Meredith up on this channel in the Indie Author Behind the Scenes playlist that we did recently, where they say how they got their books into Barnes & Nobles in the US. So you can go check that out. It was really informative. That is my experience publishing a book with Draft2Digital. I cannot thank Draft2Digital enough for letting me have the peace of mind of publishing a book without all the headache. I do think there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve here, and I have to thank my formatter for saving my rear end when I didn't know or realize. They have a timer. I guess I just wasn't paying attention to it. I didn't realize that I had less time to upload my final document, and my formatter knocked it out in 3 hours. Michael Davey, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Davey. Thank you, Michael. So yeah, just keeping those tips in mind. I hope you have a bunch of success with your book. If you've used Draft2Digital, I would love to hear your thoughts. Please leave them in the comments, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.